Hello everyone, happy Halloween. Today we are going to go over the top 10 darkest and even most horrifying moments in my favorite TV shows, movies, video games, and animes. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 10. Number 10, and barely making this list, is the only Thomas and Friends entry on this list, and it is the Stephanie Gets Lost from season 5. I remember when I first saw this episode when I was living at my grandpa's house. It just always felt so dark. The way that they actually do scrap engines. Like, Stephanie was about to get picked up by this claw, but it stopped right before they was able to grab his entire body. Now, when I first saw this episode, I originally thought that Stephanie was female due to this name being mostly used for female people. But the Thomas and Friends wiki says that he is clearly male. So, enough with the gender. Stephanie was about to get picked up, but the claw stopped. And apparently, Sir Topham happens to be at the scrapyard. Stephanie, well, is actually glad that he didn't get scrapped and sets off for home. Reasons why it's only the least darkest on this list. Number 9. Number 9 is going to be Five Nights at Freddy's. There are two different endings to this game in Sister Location. The first one, it is being the real ending, while the second one being the fake ending where you fight Ennard. I've always I really always thought that this was a good way to actually end off Michael's character. With him getting trolled by Circus Baby and Ennard, he gets lowered to the scooper and is then scooped. The thing I always thought about this trap was, I always imagined that if you got scooped, the scooper would aim right for the crotch. Well, that's why I always thought it went for the crotch, given the fact that it does have that angle where it's like aiming towards your crotch. But that's just my perspective. Number 8. Number 8 is going to be the defeat and death of Sergei Volka. Wait, is it Volka or Vulcan? I need you guys to let me know in the comment section below if it's pronounced Vulcan or Volko from Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. This is after the 2-part episode of him versus Jack Atlas from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. He gets tossed off the track, and trust me, if you've only seen the English dub of the show, this scene, it's nowhere to be found in the English dub. It is only in the Japanese dub only. So, when he's crawling home, these 3 guys spot him and choose it's a good idea to beat him up, grabbing sticks and bats and proceeding to beat up Sergei. Rajay is the one watching the entire scene. And while he's literally screaming for Sergei to hurry up, he screams and yells. The monitor right next to him that has a picture of Sergei's endoskeleton turns off and says, "No signal," confirming the fact Sergei has indeed passed away from being beaten to death. Not to mention, though, he was also the list on few of the favorite villains, given the fact one of his decks in particular was an Earthbound deck. I did, although, mention them on not only my review, but also my favorites special summons video. I would wish to see Sergei beaten up on screen as opposed to off screen, but that's just, dude, that's like very dark way to end Sergei's character. So we're just gonna move on. Number 7. Number 7 is going to be the bedroom trap from Saw 4. Believe it or not, but this trap literally gave me the creeps every time I watched this scene. The plot of the trap is that you're supposed to, well, basically what you're intended to do is you're strapped to all of these devices, and if you don't save the person until the timer goes off, then all your limbs are going to be ripped off. Trust me when I do say this, but it is very messed up in terms of what you're supposed to do. So it's number 7 for the time being. Number 6. Number 6 is yet another trap from Saw. It is the wax trap from Spiral, Saw's latest movie. And I also heard there's a new upcoming movie coming out either this year or possibly next year in 2023. Angie Garson, who is killed off by this trap, ends up getting suffocated by burning hot wax while there's a cloth over their head. However, there is a point to this, as the cloth over her face actually stops her from breathing and she can spit the liquid out, which resulted in her dying by the time Zeke arrives. He's too late. Well, it just takes number 6. Number 5. Number 5 is the rack trap from Saw 3. Timothy Young, who was the one responsible for killing Jeff's son because he was a drunk driver. The rack, this one is by far the most horrifying trap out of all the others, because it's mainly the shape of that of a cross. It twists your limbs slowly until it's completely broken. This is the only trap I cannot bear to watch in terms of appearance. Number 4. Number 4 is going to be the very first trap at the beginning of Spiral, and it is the tongue trap by Detective Boswick. Boswick apparently rips out his tongue, but he does it too early. Boswick was wasting his time by trying to free his arms when he couldn't have just followed what the pig told him to do. No. So, I'm just gonna rant on him, saying that he did it too early. He could have just used the time he had to rip out his tongue, but no, he wasted his time. Well, even though you don't need a tongue to live, though, but it is gonna probably rip out your bottom jaw. So it just takes the number 4 spot on this list. Number 3. Number 3 is our last Saw trap, and it is the finger trap. Detective Fetch killed an innocent man because he mistakenly thought he felt insulted. So he's apparently having his fingers ripped off before the water electrocutes him. Sure, I complain it should be very easy to beat, but by the time all his fingers are ripped off, he gets electrocuted, and his body is found next morning by Zeke and the others. The fact that I don't even know what it's like to have my fingers completely ripped off, trust me, it takes number 3. Number 2. Number 2 is going to be the death of Susan in Snowpiercer, the woman who got her arm amputated at the beginning of Season 1, Episode 2. I can't believe they actually gave this person a name on the Snowpiercer wiki. This was after her daughter helped the rebellion and Ruth wanted to amputate her arm off, but she says she's just a little girl. She's most likely, I would say, put her at the same age as Blair Flanagan from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, so I would say between either 8.5 or 11. Susan asks, amputate my arm off instead since I allowed her to participate. So she does it anyways. And here's something I knew. The temperature outside is, wait for it, minus 100 plus. Her entire arm ends up freezing, and then brought back in, they smashed it with a sledgehammer. It's then later explained in the Snowpiercer wiki that after her arm was smashed with a sledgehammer, she quickly died from her infection. I was originally going to put this at number 1, but trust me, I have a much, much, much more gorier moment than this. Finally, number 1. Number 1 is, yep, you're looking at it right now, Slaughterhouse. The Slaughterhouse, I can easily say, very dark in terms of it's mainly animal abuse. However, there is a point, though, as it does kill animals to make food. But when I watched it on YouTube, I could barely even watch any of this happening because the pigs are horrified because they don't want to die. I mean, look at the face on this pig. Like, he doesn't want to die, he wants to live. So that's why it takes the number 1 spot on this list. Well, so, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a fantastic Halloween, and I'll see you guys in November next month. And also, I want to give you guys a 3 shout out for my series finale coming out after the events of my Thanksgiving special videos. By the time I'm done with the Thanksgiving videos, then comes the start of my series finale. So guys, I want you guys to stay tuned and be on the lookout for the series finale coming soon, and towards the end or after the events of Thanksgiving. I'll see you guys later.